Listen, if you're doing what I'm going to tell you in this video, you're always going to struggle to make money, at least any sort of good amount of money. There's a mistake that I've made that I want you to learn from. And I wish I knew this when I started my first agency, but I have the luxury of hindsight. I also have the luxury of a small platform to help people basically learn from my mistakes. So in today's video, I want to share with you a mistake that I made with both of my businesses early on, and it cost me probably millions of dollars. If I hadn't made it, I would have made a lot more money by now. But you know, you live and learn and all that stuff, and I get to pass it on to you guys. My name's Charlie. I've basically built and scaled two companies, a marketing agency to 7 figures that I sold, and a coaching business to multi-7 figures that I currently still run. The purpose of this YouTube channel is to document my journey to 8 figures and also share information with you guys that might help you build and scale your own companies, because a lot of people struggle. I don't want you to be one of them. So let's sort of hop into this mistake. Basically, it's a very simple premise, and this video won't be too long. The premise is basically, in business, you shouldn't do things just because you want to do them, if that makes sense. And you shouldn't do things just because it's the way you want to do it. And that's kind of a weird thing to explain, so I'm going to unpack this because it might sound a bit confusing. In business, you have an option when it comes to things, right? You can do one thing, you can take one action, or you can take another action. Growing your business isn't necessarily about you, it's about your market and the environment you find yourself in. So when it comes to taking actions, the best action to take to grow the company and the best input to create the output you want, the course of the effective you'd like, isn't always going to be the one that you think you should do or want to do. And this is a hard pill to swallow because it requires some humility and some faith in something that isn't your own ego, which is quite hard to find these days. No offense, but it's common for everyone, right? So let's say that you're approaching a specific sales call scenario, right? Let's say you're doing sales calls in your business. The way that you want to do sales calls isn't necessarily the way that you should do sales calls. It depends on what you're optimizing for. Are you optimizing for your comfort and pain avoidance, or you're optimizing for the growth of the business? You can't optimize for both. It's impossible. If you're optimizing for the growth of the business, then you should be doing sales calls in a certain way. But if you're optimizing to keep yourself happy and comfortable, then you might start doing sales calls in a way that's not conducive to closing clients and making a lot of money. Another example is a lot of people think like they don't want to do cold outreach. So instead they go and build websites and try and produce content. And it's like, you shouldn't do what you want to do, you should do what is best for the business. Or you shouldn't make the decision that you want to make emotionally, you should make the decision that's best for the business. You can apply this to any scenario, but let me give you an example. So Bo and I were recently rebuilding out a new product for our company, Imperium Agency. And we were having discussions about the infrastructure and frameworks of different videos. And I was explaining to Bo that I think we should introduce something in the resources and something in the slides because it makes it look cleaner. And Bo said, well, is that something that you want to do because it suits your psychology and wanting things to be organized and clean? Or should we do this other thing that's a little bit messier but makes more sense to the client? What's better? Like, is it gonna, like, obviously it's gonna bug you and annoy you because it's not aligned with your personality and your psychological needs, but it's more aligned with the needs of the client. So what's more optimal for the business? And I was like, fuck, I've got to make a YouTube video on this because Bo was right. So whenever you're looking at something and you're gonna have like a certain inclination, you're gonna lean towards doing things in a certain way in your business. And I want you to know that just because you're leaning towards that way doesn't mean it's the right way to do it, if that makes sense. So I've got a habit when I build products of making them extremely detailed and thorough because I can't leave any stone unturned. But sometimes a module comes along where too much detail is actually harmful. And I have to have the ability to recognize, like, if I make this module the way that I want to make it, it might not be as good as making it the way that the client wants to have it happen, if that makes sense. So basically just stop projecting what you want to do and how you want to do things onto your business and start listening to the needs of the market and the environment you find yourself in, and you'll probably find the answers are way more apparent and straightforward than you think. It's just something I wanted to call people out on recently because, you know, like, people are like, when I start my business, I want to do my website first. It doesn't matter what you want, because if you truly want to build a successful company, you shouldn't listen to what you want, you should listen to what the market wants. The market doesn't care if you have a fancy website. Fuck, we've scaled the business to multi-7 figures and we've only just built a website now. You don't need a website to grow, but if you want to build one, you can go and build one, but you've got to realize, like, do you want to build a website or do you want to go and do painful activities that are actually going to grow the company? What do you want? Do you want pain-free delusion or do you want painful growth? Pick the sacrifice. You know, if you've got like a certain way of doing things that's unique to you and it works really well and you enjoy it and you're happy with it, then absolutely. But for the most part, especially when you're starting sub 10 grand a month, you're going to have to do things that you don't want to do in ways that you do not want to do them or come naturally to you. And that's just basically character and business growth. And if you're not willing to make that sacrifice in terms of yourself, your paradigm, your identity, you'll always struggle. So just learn that lesson from me. If you think it's wrong, you can just comment in the comment section saying you're an idiot, Charlie. But I wish I knew this earlier on. And now that I've started thinking in like this way, it's helped me grow my company. So it's worked really well for me. I hope it does for you. If you enjoyed the video, just press the like button because there's literally a button for it. Comment if you have anything to add, and you can also subscribe if you want future videos. Don't turn the bell notification thing on for subscriptions because, well, it's kind of just a waste of your time to be distracted by YouTube. You can just check back every now and then. And by the way, if you own an agency or a coaching business or you're a consultant or something and you're struggling with client acquisition, just click the first link in the description. Don't worry, there's no 997 course or webinar. It's just me explaining how we can help you get clients. You can watch it if you don't want to, I don't really mind. Anyway, have a good day. Take care. Talk to you later.